maybe all this is also explained because you Portuguese have always been very open to the world. And the next book is this gem by Fortunato da Camara, Portuguese Rice, A Gastronomic World. It's maybe the most complete book on rice around the world and the role by the Portuguese bringing it as they did with tea. But this is a new approach that we didn't knew. And while you travel all around the world with this book on rice by Fortunato da Camara. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Edward. Is it just going forward here in the green button? Okay, okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present my book, Mr. Edward again, and Edward on the top. Well, this book, Rice, the History of Rice in Portugal, it's a book, we come from intense research of 3 years around this subject, this complex subject, trying to tell a history with start in the 13th century, the first records about the history of rice in Portugal. In the complicated history with several pauses, because the Portuguese, we are evolved, as we have heard yesterday and today, we are evolved in different parts of the world. So it's very emotion to hear different books here, sometimes evoke Portugal in different parts of the world, because rice is the third food, the staple food of all the world, to feed all the world. So it's a very important food. And I try to demonstrate in this book not the point of view of Portugal, but what is this specific rice, Oryza sativa. And the book, it talks about the different countries we have become Oryza sativa. Is a very brief resume of the chapters. So the cradle and the family of Oryza, rice, the ancient cereal, in the genesis of the Oryza sativa, the Oryza glaberrima, very important in the Portugal history, Oryza glaberrima, because there are 2 types of Oryza, sativa and glaberrima. Glaberrima is linked to Africa. And for the main history, only Oryza sativa in the 2 components, Indica and Japonica, is everybody knows him. But Oryza glaberrima is in the origin of the rice we have today in Portugal, in the origin of the history of the spread of the rice in Africa, in Brazil. The journey of this grain and the grain of the prosperity, as you know, in other countries. So from Asia to Southern Europe, via Africa, the itching arrived by the Arabs on the South Europe. So the book is very complete in different areas, not just the point of view of the Portuguese history, but in the history of Europe and different parts of the world. And of course, the certain adventure of rice in Portugal, because it becomes in the kingdom of the King Dom Dinis, but we don't have too much grains to such a huge history. So, as we know, the Portuguese are very, very little people. We have go outside to find cereals. It was the purpose of the big adventure of the discoverers, to have different forms of find food on different countries, and of course not just rice but different cereals. This is a photo of rice, of course, but this is a very important variety of rice, because even if we are the biggest consumers of rice in Europe, with 16 to 18 kilos per capita here, the biggest consumers on Europe, with a large advantage to Spain and Italy. and everybody knows the tradition of risotto in Italy and paellas in Spain, but they have a consuming of 6 kilos, 4 or 5 kilos, and in Portugal we have 16 to 18, so a huge difference. We don't have seeds, traditional seeds of Portuguese. So we buy the seeds to Italy and we make the cultivation here in Portugal. But it was a problem in the last 30 years. We have been changed with the national program of varieties. We had become with the first new variety, the first real Portuguese variety, which is Caravella, the name, and this is a photo of him. So this is a beautiful picture of a rice field, maybe 50 kilometers from Lisbon, in Salvaterra de Magos, is the cover of the book. And this photo is very important because this is the national program of new varieties, with one chapter of the book, with different types of tests of new varieties for the future. So we talked about independence of food of different countries, and we have seen with the war in Ukraine, which is a main subject, the question of the cereals. So in the future, the sovereign of the food is very important, and this is the national program of development of new varieties with different types of varieties, studying to adapt to the climate, to adapt of different types of regions for the future. This is a photo to prepare the plant to be different, the cross of different types of varieties. And of course, as I have told yesterday, when I've received this honor prize, without the slavering works in Gulf of Guinea, where Portugal have found a huge tradition on Oryza glaberrima, and with that work, with the slaves of Portugal and other countries, France and the English, have transported to different parts of the world, and the Spanish slaves were transported to the Americas. Portugal have transported to Brazil to develop in the area of Maranhão huge rice fields to develop different varieties. Without that job, the Portuguese rice and the South Carolina rice doesn't even exist. In the presidents of the President Obama, they have made an homage in the museum to the slaves who developed the rice on the South Carolina. And also in Portugal, when Portugal have give the sovereignty to Brazil in the 19th century, we have to return to our main fields, rice fields in Portugal. The people suffer a lot because disease connected to the rice fields, problems of healthy, and it was a big struggle to have the rice in Portugal. So different points of view about have or not have rice fields in Portugal. It was a huge struggle, which is I tell in the book, and this is a picture of the people who work with the sun, hard sun in their heads to prepare the fields of the rice, and sometimes with high cost in our lives. Another topics of the book, the regions of the rice for everything. So as a big consumers, we have a large amount of recipes. I have quoted more than 100 recipes of different types of rice. Of course, if you go to the restaurants in Portugal, you always be fries and white rice. It's not the Portuguese cuisine of rice is not white rice. It's just a garnish of the dishes. It's a very, very different types of rice, rice to the oven, rice, cooked rice with different types of fish, types of meat. We have a very and a wonderful, tasty and savored cook of rice. And the reasons we have varieties is all explained on the book. We have some recipes with traditional recipes. This is on the left a rice with codfish, of course, the typical codfish Portuguese. And on the right we have octopus rice, but we have rice with different parts. Just a few topics to the end. Some curiosities. Portugal was the second European country to grow rice. Between the 15th and 19th century, Portugal distributed and traded rice through Europe, Africa, South America, Asia, and North America. So this book is a very special book to different countries to be translated for English, for French, different cultures, because it crossed different countries where Portugal has been in the discoverers adventure. And the rice business in Africa and later in Brazil was always a slave labor. And Portugal dominated the European rice market in late 18th century with Maranhão rice brought from Brazil in competition with America Carolina rice. Well, my name is Fortunato Da Camara, and just a few notes. If you're interested in this book, you can email me. This is my email. Can you send me a mail? And my other 6 books have been also honored with prize from Gourmand Awards in Portugal in different areas. My other 6 books are in the subject of gastronomy. I'm food critic at 20 years ago in different newspapers, and I'm a food journalist. And my other 6 books are different topics around gastronomy, history, about biographies about people linked to history, food story. I have a book about the history of 80 different recipes around the world, not Portuguese recipes, but recipes from 80 recipes from different continents of the world. And books about how to be a good gourmand, so about the taste different food, about the phenomenon of be a critic or not. I have a book about that because I have made my graduation in France, in the University of Champagne, linked with Cordon Bleu of Paris. And well, I'm over to different markets. To this book is a huge work I would like to share with different markets, and if you're interested, you can send me an email. Thank you very much.